Stop the cap.
You all are going to hear me rant in a second because this is actually post video. But I wanted to make sure that what I said was accurate. And I realized that I wasn't crystal clear about what I said when I said Project 2025 didn't say anything about unions. What I meant was supporting unions. And so I went back, and this is basically a summary of what 2025 says about unions. And like I said, and you know how I feel, if you're not talking about men being gainfully employed, you can pretty much forget about marriage. You can forget about your Judeo-Christian, traditional, patriarchal family structure, and everything that comes with it, right? The intactness of society. You can pretty much hang it up. But anyway, this is what Project 2025 says about unions. Ban on public sector unions. Project 2025 proposes to ban unions for public service workers, which would significantly reduce the power and influence of these unions in negotiating for workers' rights and benefits. Now, this right here would disproportionately affect black people, because remember what I told you, black people are disproportionately in the public sector and not in the private sector where the vast majority of money is made. But all of this falls underneath the umbrella of we want wage slaves. We want a slave population. We want the world to look like Snowpiercer or the movie Elysium with Matt Damon. This is what this is about. Number 2, reducing union influence. The project suggests allowing employers to eliminate union mid-contract and making it easier for companies to avoid paying overtime. Did you hear that? Make it easier for companies to avoid paying overtime. It also advocates for states to have the option to opt out of federal overtime and minimum wage laws. Again, we don't want to pay anybody. But yet, we need to increase the white birth rates because the white birth rates are going down. Next point. Promoting employer-controlled unions. Project 2025 includes provisions to support the creation of employer-controlled sham unions, which would undermine the formation. Okay. Which would undermine the formation of independent labor unions and weaken collective bargaining. So they want to weaken collective bargaining. All of that Wonder Years, middle class America that everybody wants to talk about, make America great again, right? Right? That period of full medical and dental, which actually allowed for people's fathers back then to support, paying for their college and them going to school. Working requirements and labor protections. The project suggests implementing work requirements for public assistance programs and cutting labor protections for worker on federal projects, such as repealing project labor agreements, PLAs, and prevailing wage requirements. Meaning, like during Hurricane Katrina, like when they had to go down there to try, all the federal workers or all the people who were contracted out to fix and clean up the city, they had to pay prevailing wages. That's something that I think FDR put in, if I'm not mistaken, about prevailing wages, which means the money's got to be right. And they're trying to remove that. The next thing, reducing unionization. Project 2025 aims to make it illegal for employers to voluntarily recognize unions and to require secret ballot elections for union formation, even if the majority of employees support unionization. This would make it more difficult for workers to organize and form unions. This is like what Reagan did on steroids. And that's essentially how we got to the point that we got to, where, rent is $2,000. Nobody can afford rent. Nobody can afford housing. This is what they're trying to do. This is what your white overlords, your white masters, this doesn't have anything to do with blacks, Mexicans, Syrian refugees, fucking people from Honduras. This has nothing to do with that. This will affect white men across the board. This is not just the federal government. This is unions across the board. This is the model for the nation. And you all are worried about what the gays are doing as opposed to, fuck you, pay me. Like, the Jay-Z albums used to say. That's what y'all should be focused on. But anyway, I don't want to make a whole nother video on top of the video that I made. I just want to point that out to you all so that you all understand this. Because, like I said, unfortunately, the reality is if black people cannot afford for white people to be stupid. And you're going to hear me emphasize why that is later in the video. But black people cannot afford for white people to be stupid. Anyway, that's my video, SWPR. Don't forget to comment. What is it? Don't forget to comment and subscribe. Anyway, that's my video and I'm out. Oh boy, I've been looking at this Project 2025. Talk about a goddamn nothing burger. Look, y'all white evangelical Christians, you guys got to get more informed about the shit that you support or the shit that you claim that you want. You also got to get over your racism, especially in particular your anti-black racism. But that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to get into that. But, the evangelical Christians will tell you that the left and all of their LGBTQ and it's an abomination, and they want to tell you about Jesus. And the problem is we've walked away from the light of Christ as a Christian nation, right? They'll tell you all this shit, right? Which partly I would agree, especially when they talk about the LGBTQ shit. That shit is not conducive to life. I don't think it should be promoted. But by the same token, if that's what you're about, if that's what you want to do, then go ahead and do it. I'm just saying, as a heteronormative cisgendered male, I don't want that shit, pushed in my face, and I most certainly don't want it pushed onto my kids if I had any damn kids. Okay, that's where I'm in agreement with the white evangelical Christians, right? And I'm saying this as an atheist. But when it comes to the claims that Project 2025 are making about how we're going to put families first, right? Real talk, they're not even minorities like to flip on Project 2025 because they think it's like a white nationalist wet dream. And it kind of is, but it's really about white wealthy males. Like when they talk about all this traditional stuff, because there's nothing in there, right? We already know that the average income for the average, I think, white American male is like $56,000. In today's age, that is not enough to support a family of four. Let's just go with a family of four. Father, mother, and 2 children, right? Because that at least keeps you at the replacement level, okay? With the cost of living, inflation, the average price of homes being $430,000, right? There's nothing in this Project 2025 that supports a family of 4. Nothing. There's nothing in there talking about prevailing wages, livable wages. There's nothing talking about the formation of unions. There's nothing talking about bringing down the cost of living. There's nothing talking about increasing the number of housing, right? Right, this goes back to that NIMBY, that not in my backyard, right? They don't want low-income housing or affordable housing, right? They're trying to find ways of eliminating that. They're doing that stupid-ass, anybody who wants to apply for public housing, they have to be drug tested, which it's already been proven Florida has spent an obnoxious amount of money, with that plan of going out there and drug testing people, and they only had like 1% of the people that were actually like drug addicts. Everybody else wasn't on drugs. No, their problem was poverty. Their problem was not that they were drug addicts. See, this is that bullshit of the welfare queen and the stereotypes from the 1980s that there's some woman on crack who's got 15 kids and is on welfare and living off of the government dole. That's bullshit. That's already been disproven. But yet it's in the document like, we're white men, we know so much more. It's bullshit. In there they want to preserve the suburbs, right? Preserve what they want to call the American dream. The American dream is about having access to those type of homes. Those type of homes are out of reach for like 80% of Americans. Right? $80,000 used to get you there. Now, you have to be making at least $120,000. I think it's $110,000 to $120,000 to qualify for the average home. They don't address that. There's nothing in there that addresses that. And I'm like, here we go again with the bullshit. It's amazing, right? They're so concerned about dwindling white birth rates, but I'm like, okay, where's the part where you're going to talk about making white men economically viable? I'll just leave it at white men. I won't even include black men and Hispanic men or Asian men or anybody else because we already know they ain't really talking about them. Fuck it. Just the white men. Let me wave the magic wand and make myself a white nationalist, white supremacist. Okay? Even as a white supremacist, I would be a white supremacist that would be about the numbers. And I would say cost of living is here. If we want more white babies, we need to increase the wages to be here. Right? That's just simple math. But no, instead what they're doing is weaponizing Christianity, weaponizing evangelicalism, right? And then basically, sprinkling white Jesus on everything and saying that they're talking about incentivizing marriage through federally funded parent planning programs and to incentivize marriage, through. I think the only actual tangible thing that they had in there was making tax incentives. But nothing from nothing equals nothing, right? It doesn't matter if you have tax exemptions or tax incentives if the person already isn't making a bunch of money. What are you gonna save what they're not making? What are you gonna not tax them on what the $50,000 that they're making? Even if you didn't, how much would you not tax them? Right? How much are you going to reduce that tax burden? You're going to reduce it down to nothing so that they can keep all of their $50,000? Maybe now we're talking. Maybe that would work. Right? But I don't think that that's what they're going to do. It's just vague. It doesn't say how much. It doesn't say we're going to create tax incentives for family. But I'm wary about shit like that. Right? Because in other words, you already have shown that you don't want to pay people. So the idea, we're going to create taxes. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers want to do every goddamn thing in the world except paying young men and making young men economically viable to the point that in 1960, the average age of a first-time home buyer, if they were white, was 24 years old. If you can't get it back to that, or even, move backwards, right? The average age of buying a home is 36. Try to get it to 31. Try to get it to 29. Right? That would be conducive to, we want to increase white babies and we want more white babies, right? would be conducive to that. I wish I could make white nationalists and white supremacists see just how much full of shit the capitalists are full of. You guys keep believing in the hype. You believe in we just get rid of all the minorities, all these lazy minorities, vacuuming up all the resources through welfare. Then we would have a better white nation and we'd be able to get our birth. Wrong, nigga, like Charlie Murphy tried to tell you. Wrong. No, they don't want to fucking pay you. They will talk about everything but the money. They will talk about everything but unions. They will sit there and they will tell you, oh, well, I mean, if we just have these behavioral programs and we get you to change your mindset and change your belief system, then we'll be more conducive to families. Sorry, white Becky don't want to hear that. White Becky where's your nice car? White Becky is like, where's the granite countertops and the stainless steel appliances? Again, this is what white supremacy has established when it comes to Becky's expectation. Becky want nice shit. Becky want a nice house. Becky want a nice car. Becky does not want to struggle. So unless the white powers that be can make it to where Becky is not struggling with the man that she's with to the point that she would want to bust it open and have a baby with Grant Wellington, the first, because he won't be the third, because that implies legacies and generational wealth. So Grant Wellington the first, okay? If she don't want to bust it open for Grant Wellington the first, you got nothing. You got nothing. I mean, what's so crazy is here I am as a black man, and I'm and the thing is, what I hate, I don't care what it is. I don't care what the fucking topic is. Make your shit make sense, nigga. Make your shit make sense. Let your shit, I don't give a fuck what you believe in. I don't care if it's the most racist thing in the world. I need to be able to follow what the fuck you say you're trying to do. And I'm like, okay. What are you trying? Okay, you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, you want white babies only. I'm like, okay, let me put on my white supremacist thinking cap. Okay, even though I'm not white. Okay, let's look at your math. Let's walk through it. Let's walk, shall we? And I'm walking through it, and I'm like, this isn't going to solve the problem that you're talking about. I feel like fucking John in goddamn Apollo 11 and shit. Where my man Gene was up there talking about 45 hours, that only gets us here. And then John stood up and was like, we got to bring them down to 12 amps. 12 amps? You can't run a vacuum cleaner on 12 amps, John. We got to bring them down to 12 amps. Look, I've been looking at the data for an hour. We got to bring them down to 12 amps. Power is everything. If they don't have power, they can't communicate with us. They can't turn around their heat shields. They can't change their trajectory. Power is everything. We got to bring them down to 12 amps. And that's how I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, oh, you want more white babies? You're going to have to bring the cost of living down to 12 amps. That's what the fuck you're going to have to do. You're going to have to bring it down to 12 amps. You're going to have to squeeze every ounce of fucking current that you can get out of them goddamn batteries. That's what you're going to have to do. But no. These motherfuckers want to go up there and they want to present fluff and then act like they're doing something. And all you evangelical white Christians are falling for this bullshit. It's bullshit. They don't want to pay you. They ain't never want to pay you. They didn't want to pay you after slavery. They didn't want to pay you during the Gilded Age. They didn't want to pay you during the freaking Ludlow Massacre. They didn't want to pay you during the Latimer Massacre. They didn't want to pay you during fucking, what was that damn mountain, something mountain, Blue Mountain or something like that. What was the riot that they had out there in Appalachia? I can't think of what it was. Blueford. What was this damn thing called? Then you got the Memorial Day Massacre. They ain't never want to pay you. As soon as they could get rid of freaking unions, they got rid of unions. And many of your boomer parents co-signed off on that shit, not reading the goddamn fine print. They slipped that shit in there like the fucking Hughes Amendment. when it came to getting rid of, fully automatic machine guns and shit in the 1986. Oh, y'all, like, it pisses me off because you get these, it's like when you watch TYT and they got the people and they go up with the microphones and they asking them questions. These people don't know shit from piss. And these are the people that are fucking voting. And they think that they're so right. They think that they know something. You know what I mean? And you can tell by how they talk. You can tell by how they articulate themselves. They don't know shit from piss. I mean, Christianity has been weaponized against poor white people so badly, and you all don't see it. Don't get it twisted. It's been weaponized against black people. You know what I mean? But I expect white people that are always trying to stay on top, and understand economics a lot more than black people do, right? I'll give white people that much credit, right? They understand. White people, there's money and they trying to get, unions and shit like that. White people, they get down like that. But for some reason, when it comes to, the gay shit, they're reading storybook time, as LGBTQ, we must stop this and bring back Christianity. Somehow, in all the Jesus talk, y'all lose the money talk. All of a sudden, the money talk goes out the window. Now, me, I'm more of a populist, right? When it comes to all this shit, right? I'm like, nah. What needs to be done, should be things that I'm not even gonna say benefit everybody, right? Because I know that's not what the white supremacists want. But I'm not opposed to it because the way that even that would play out, like even if they just focused on we're going to increase unions and shit like that, black people would be able to come in and kind of get a piece of that. So, but the thing is we can't get a piece of nothing. We can't get a piece of magical, intangible shit. We can't get a piece of that. So when I see white people falling for the magical okie doke, I'm like, oh man, black people, we can't even sneak in the back door because there's nothing to sneak in the back door on because this is bullshit, right? Like if it was actually something, and then white people were like, we're gonna create this exclusively for white people, and then on the back end, black people could go to court, they could challenge this, they could challenge that, but at least, right, the money, the resources, the finance, the backing, all this stuff, right, the laws, all that stuff is there on the books, right, to benefit white people first, and then we come in on the back end, and then we try to get our piece of the shit, right? But when white people are falling for the okie doke of intangible bullshit, even if we came in on the back end, there's nothing for us to grab because they got nothing. You see? They fell for the smoke screen. They fell for the okie doke. So when we come in and go, we're going to get the NAACP and we're going to sue, right? And we come in, there's nothing for us to receive because they got nothing. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, white people being stupid about their own system does not benefit black people. White people need to be smart about their own system in order for black people to benefit, right? We are the minority. We're 13, 14% of the population, right? So it is what it is. We're basically at the mercy of white people and the decisions they make. But if white people are becoming stupider by the day, then guess who's not getting shit? That's right, us. That's right. That's why I concern myself with what the white supremacists are talking and trying to open the eyes of white people who don't care for black people and being like, hey man, you're not paying attention. Okay? You're not paying attention to what you're doing. Right? It's like Steven in fucking Django, right? Steven benefited, even though Steven was like the mastermind. Steven was really the one that had all the brains and the intelligence when he went into the library, and had that glass of cognac and shit like that, and started talking, to Leonardo DiCaprio's character, in a way that he wouldn't talk in front of everybody else. You see? Like, he's like, nah, that nigga Django, that's his girl. Hildy is his girl. You know what I mean? He put him on game. right? Because, you know, and I don't know, Stephen was just a hater in my opinion, but I'm saying, you know, when it came to Monsieur making decisions, right? Freaking Samuel L. Jackson's character, Stephen, you know, his interest was involved with involved with Leonardo DiCaprio's character. So that's why he sabotaged Django, right? And we can get into all that, you being a coon and Uncle Tom. We get all that. I understand Uncle Tom was actually the hero of the book. I get all that. But you get the point that I'm making, okay? And that's the situation when it comes to white supremacy. If these white people are so dumb about how the system works economically, they go in there and they subscribe to shit. They operate against their own interests, which in turn, via proxy, it negatively affects us. Because they go in there and they're making demand, symbolism. Just like we get hit with the Democrats, symbolism. Oh, here comes Kamala Harris doing a dance. Ooh, I was AKA. Ooh, how about some hot sauce? Or some other bullshit, right? Right? The white people, they get hit with it's a Christian nation, and it's Jesus, and the Lord and Savior, and God, and everything. Okay, well, what about the job? And we don't support LGBTQ. We support strong patriarchal nuclear families. Okay, yeah, but what about the resources that families need to support themselves? Oh, no, look at the time. I got to be in Kansas. You know what I mean? And they roll out. There's nothing in Project 2025. I hope you all recognize this. You white evangelical Christians are not recognizing this. You guys are so focused on the gay shit. You know, it's like, what's more important? Gays are going to be here. Gays are going to do gay shit. But when it comes to you actually having a fucking family, that costs money. It doesn't matter. Like, in other words, without any money, young white men are not getting with white women and they're not producing babies. It doesn't matter what the fucking gay people are doing. They can fuck each other in the ass all they fucking want to. That ain't got a goddamn thing to do with you fucking Becky. The only way that Becky's gonna get with your program, your patriarchal program, is if you're what? Gainfully employed. That's how the shit works. But y'all, there's nothing in here addressing that shit. And y'all running around, Donald Trump 2024, Donald Trump, yeah, we're going to vote for Trump, Project 2025, yeah, we're going to make it happen. What is in there for you? I can see how it benefits the white men that are already wealthy. There's a whole bunch of shit that's not being addressed because they don't need it. All the stuff that's in here is stuff to basically maintain the wealth that they already have, right? Like the idea, don't build any more houses. Fuck that shit. I don't need my property values going down. Multifamily housing units, even though we're, however many million units short, right? No, don't build that. I thought you were trying to increase the white birth rates. Yeah, but not at the expense of my wealth. Fuck that shit. That's what you're dealing with. But y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that Cash App. That shit helps with the channel, especially on days when I don't feel like making fucking videos. People want me to comment on the Kamala Harris and Trump and all that. And I was thinking about making a video and whatnot. But y'all be making a lot of requests. You know what I mean? And I'll be looking at that collection plate like, with all the requests that some of y'all be making. Because some of y'all be making daily requests. And I'm like, I ain't seen this name in a minute. But anyway, that's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.